With Bitcoin still causing trouble for the altcoins, Polkadot seems to be defying the odds and actually has taken over some key technical areas. Guys, my name is Nick and we are going to get into the technical analysis here for Polkadot. If you find this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that said and done out of the way, let's dive into this technical analysis on Polkadot. So as I said, Polkadot has been doing some pretty interesting things lately, even despite what Bitcoin has been doing to the altcoin market. And we're going to start things with this weekly chart. We can see obviously the progress that has been occurring from when we start seeing Polkadot on Binance here, and this was around August 2020. This is pretty much the top of wave one before we started to see a sideways trade going into a nice push to the upside on this weekly chart, topping out originally in May of 2021 at around that $49.82 area. We then saw a correction wave that took a lot of people by surprise. So we actually kind of bottomed out by July 19. From here, we started to see a good recovery, and that is exactly where we are today. We are talking about where Polkadot is and what key technical areas it is fighting right now, because this is where the true battle begins and where we start to see Polkadot really start to set new all-time highs and go after some fantastic price discovery. We can see the Fibonacci retracement tool from our top of wave 3 and our bottom of wave 4, and this predicts out $177 for Polkadot. We can see this is about 389% from the current price position, and again, this is pretty reasonable price expectation, nothing too crazy, and we should be able to achieve this, I would have thought. Things on Polkadot are finally heating up, and this is kind of testament to see the amount of promotional content that we are kind of contacted about in our inbox, and majority of them at the moment are all around Polkadot. This is telling me that that ecosystem is heating up and things are going to start getting really interesting very, very soon here for Polkadot. So ones to watch out for. Now, obviously we can see is that we are overbought on our stochastic RSI. Again, this is something that we have been before. We can be up here for a couple of months or so without any problems. So this doesn't bother me in the slightest on these larger time frames. Again, this is very natural before we start to slip back down into a bit of a bear market. So for me right now, being up here is just the beginning of what is to come as we head over to that 4.236 extension of $177 and gain 389% from our current position. So as we jump down into our daily, this is where things actually get really interesting. And we can see that we are pushing up with our stochastic. We were up here for quite some time during our initial kind of recovery phase. So if I just bring this down, right, so we can see that when we bottomed out down here on the 20th of July, we can see that there was a good surge to the upside, right? We actually went from oversold to overbought in a matter of, I think, like 2 weeks or so. Actually, no, a few days. Just a few days, we were basically in the overbought area. We're then tracking this overbought area all the way to the upside here. We started to see a bit of a pullback right in the middle. This was a key area for us, this yellow box, and this was basically a 618-702-786, right? So we can see that we were getting rejected from the C786, pulling down to the 618-702, shooting right up. Now, this is where the battle was getting heated up right here, okay? And this is where Bitcoin decided to have its pullback. Now, this area is the 618 from our main Fibonacci retracement tool, okay? So this was where the battle was really kind of kick-starting, $34.81. We were rejected from this point, pulling us back down to below our 618 of a different fib, and then we started to track back up. Now, obviously, this initial pullback was very frustrating, but it gave us the opportunity to basically dollar cost average a pretty good position ahead of where we're going. Again, these kind of corrections, although them sometimes unnatural, do present themselves with opportunities considering we are in a bull run. And we can obviously see that the good track to the upside here, we found a little bit of resistance around the 50% retracement zone before we surged right back up again. Bitcoin had a pullback yesterday, bringing us back to our support line of $31.21. This is another area of resistance for us previously, or previous area support. And then today we can see that we're right back up into this key area, right? This is the main battle zone. And once we get above this yellow box area, get the closed candle above the 786, and that coming in at 41.21, okay? Once we're above there, we're going to be in a a very strong position here for Polkadot to set new all-time highs. And we need to see this weekly close ideally up here. So again, we've got all week to kind of battle this way through. Maybe we will set an all-time high and just settle above this area ahead of Sunday. That would be fantastic. That will allow us to basically continue this kind of push to the upside. For us right now, this battle is absolutely key. And we're going to get into that on the smaller time frame so we can see exactly what is going on and what we could expect to happen next. But on this daily chart, lots of fantastic things look like they're on the horizon here. The weeklies lined up nicely. The dailies lined up nicely. We've got good growth on our stochastic RSI here. We can throw the volumes in. You can see there's frustrating selling volumes coming in here. Now, what we want to do is see this growth volume come in with buying, right? We want to see some good buying volume. And right now, we don't actually see that so much, but we are looking for change here and change in the sentiment. So we're going to get into what that looks like in a moment. And one of the very frustrating things about the crypto space is you need to be able to understand that underlying data, right? And obviously the candles, the wicks, these indicators that we use on our charts are great, but sometimes you need a little bit more. And that is where 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗀𝗧 comes in. 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗀𝗧 is basically utilizing artificial intelligence, machine learning, to help us understand the underlying value of a cryptocurrency. And there is a link in the description below. If you haven't already signed up, do sign up. It is free, and you'll be able to get deeper insight into your cryptocurrency assets, right? And we often talk about fear and greed within the crypto space, and we always use the generalized fear and greed index, i.e. what does Bitcoin look like from a fear and greed index? What 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗪 do is they actually give you a specific fear and greed index for each altcoin as well. So you get a more specific look and feel and understanding of that data and how the sentiment is working for a crypto. So for this example, we have Polkadot loaded up here, right? And there's several different things that we can look at. We can see that the overall rating is an A2 rating. So again, performing very, very well. The second best rating that a cryptocurrency asset can be given. So you know there are very little wrong with the underlying data that the AI is analyzing. We can see that the 𝗕𝗓𝗪 ratio just here is an A2 rating. And basically that is indicating that there are no problems with liquidity. 𝗕𝗓𝗪 is your liquidity power factor. And basically what this is doing is it's telling us that actually, you know, it's not an A1, which would be the best liquidity you can have, but it's an A2. So the second best liquidity that a project could have is being indicated here. So again, no problems with liquidity. We could look at the fear and greed index as well. We can see it's an A2 rating. So, you know, that's very greedy, right? It's right up there in that greedy scenario. There isn't a lot of fear here, so there's going to be a lot more FOMO. And you can see that Polkadot's been tracking up in this area for quite some time. So from a sentiment point of view, all you're really seeing is some profits being taken, in line with everything else that's going on with Bitcoin. But there isn't a fear like there is for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's very fearful at the moment. Whereas Polkadot hasn't got that same level of fear. And we saw something similar with Cardano before it went on a tear. So again, this is pretty positive stuff. We can then also see the Sharpe ratio, right? Sharpe ratio indicating risk to rewards. A2 rating, so very little there, well above the 50-day average. No risk reward ratio, you know, looks perfect, but this one is looking pretty good to me. So no problems really to indicate in terms of risk reward ratio. So that's also very good to see, which means investing in Polkadot right now, it does seem to be a pretty good idea. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. Chris is not a financial advisor, so it's important that you do your own research and dive into all the data, do the research on the team, the project, all of that kind of good stuff. There are many influencers across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc. And it's important that you know, you do your own research because they're not going to necessarily do the right research for you, and it's important that you do that. Okay, so for me, this makes sense. I can see there's a very limited risk to my rewards when I'm holding Polkadot. I can see the moving averages are looking very, very good here at an A2 rating. So overall, the profitability being an A1 makes a lot of sense. And there's very little to worry about. The peak end value demand's up at A2. So ultimately, this looks like a very good quality level. Polkadot looks like a quality level cryptocurrency asset to hold right now. And it looks like it's going to be performing well. The artificial intelligence hasn't identified anything of concern here for Polkadot. So when we take a look at things lining up here, taking out this key area, it looks like something we should be able to achieve. When we jump down into our hourly, this is where we start to see some more of that detail. Okay, so here we can see that there was an upward trend that we've been tracking. This has been working well for us, lots of points of contact, and basically pushing us right back up into this area here, right? So we are looking at trying to get above that 702 area, and we can see that comes in at about $38. That's where we're wicking up to before. Now that's a lower high, and that's a lower high. This is currently a lower high, so ideally we want to try to break that trend. But if we cannot, then ultimately we will be looking at trying to create a bit of a triangular wedge instead, which is fine. We can do those kind of things and just bide our time a bit. Very frustrating if we need to, but we can do that. Okay, so we take a look at where we are with the stochastic. We can see that we're not overbought, so we can come up a little bit higher, but the likelihood is that we will get rejected. So we'll look to find support on our trend line as we look to basically lower our stochastic for another push. I think if we were to come down once, I think that would be the catalyst to then allow us to push right the way through the 702 and potentially even the 786 to get some serious traction to the upside. So I'll be watching this really closely. There's nothing wrong with the underlying data. The daily, the weeklies are looking very good. It looks like a small pullback might be required here for our hourly. So hopefully by the end of the day, we can start to see some interesting traction as we get wedged into this area and we have that good push to the upside. So it could be a couple of days or so. Around the 15th, it seems that this kind of triangular wedge would come to completion. So we'll watch that. Otherwise, I think we could literally just have one correction and then blast off to the upside. And like I said before, right, getting that closed candle above our 786 is the key thing for us, right? Getting that area taken out, that 41.38 just up here, really will be the catalyst for change and pushing up towards those new price targets. So we are talking about 74.19 as our first price target, all the way up to the 4.236 extension of $177. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. Hopefully you have found this brief update with Polkadot useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.